Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nafs. I am a beautician and I was led by God to go into this, and I specialize in facials, brows and lash lifts. And I work from home in my living room to be exact. And I kind of just want to share my journey with you guys, and I want to share how my faith shapes my beauty business. I have always worked, like since I was 16, I've always worked for someone. I've done sales assistant, personal assistant, like I've had a lot of jobs. But one thing that always stayed strong in me is I don't want to work for someone else. I want my own business. And I felt like I have that entrepreneur spirit. And I do feel like God gave that to me. In the moment though, during those times, I don't think I realized like that was a godly gift. I think it was just me. Back then, I kind of thought, or maybe it's just me being lazy. Like, I don't want to work for someone because honestly, guys, I don't like being told what to do. I don't like being told what to do. It annoys me when someone tells me what to do at work specifically. Do you know what I mean? Especially because I'm a type of girl where I know what I'm doing. Like, I know what I'm doing. You don't need to tell me. I've always had that leadership spirit. I've never been a follower. If I should just put it bluntly, I've just never been a follower. I've always been a leader, always been the confident one, the one that puts herself forward, things like that. I've always wanted to have my own business. And when I was younger, actually, I had a makeup business. So I started a makeup business. I didn't really do research. When I look back, I'm like, girl, like, come on. I didn't really do research. I kind of just went into it. I was selling eyelashes, lip glosses, and I was also making them myself. And I didn't do research on like target market, how to sell, how to do any of that. I kind of just, boom, went blindly into it. Go back a bit, actually. I used to be a makeup artist. So I was working and doing makeup artistry at the same time. And then although I do love doing makeup, I love doing makeup on me. I don't like doing it on other people. Like even till this day, I don't really enjoy doing makeup on other people. Like I'll do it for family and extremely close friends as favors. I'm okay with that. But going to people's houses, chugging a whole big suitcase and doing makeup, I've just found it long. I was just like to myself, okay, you enjoy beauty, but you don't like the whole like traveling aspect and stuff. And back then I lived at my mum's house and clients were coming to my mum's house and they were great. But it wasn't sustainable long term if you live in an African household, like, you know. So then I went into selling eyelashes and stuff. And guys, I think in like a year, I only made like $1,000. It wasn't a lot, but again, it really like discouraged me. I had this idea. And with me, it's like, I want to be the best at everything. Like, I realized that I didn't have the patience that it took to run a business. Now I see what it requires. But back then I didn't realize like running a business actually requires patience, right? But also in terms of like faith, I've always been a Christian, but I didn't pray religiously. I didn't read my Bible religiously, right? And you will see how things come to turn later on. So done that business. I ended up closing it after 4 years because again, lost the passion for it, didn't enjoy it, required too much work. Yeah, I just didn't really enjoy it. And I wasn't seeing the fruits of my labor. But when I look back, I'm like, you really wasn't putting in that much work. Do you know what I mean? Compared to now. So that was second business, right? So you had MUA and then you had a lash store, which was called Nafs Makeup. And then my friend was in a similar business. She was actually making like creams and butters and things like that and lip glosses. And she was making like hella money because she was selling like the equipment needed. And then I was like, do you know what? That's such a good idea. Like, I'm going to do the same, right? I created a whole business. I marked the name. I bought the domain and everything. Did I do anything with that, guys? No. I bought Versagel. Did it sell 1 or 2 or 3? Yeah, but I had to throw like the rest of it out. And I was just like, maybe business is not for me because nothing is working. Like back then I kind of just thought you put it out there, boom, sells overnight. Lies. Like that is not how business works. Fast forward to now. So that was my third business, right? And then I dibbled and dabbled in drop shipping, didn't work, trading, found it long, a lot to learn and things like that. And I just end up realizing for me to put in so much effort in something, I have to be passionate about it. That leads me to 2023. I felt the Lord lead me to quit my full-time job. And I was just like, is this me or is it God? Like, the feeling was so strong that I didn't even take a minute to be like, oh, I'm not going to do it. I was just like, boom, okay, I'm going. That was it. Like, I'm going. And then I quit. But guys, the journey the Lord has taken me on since then. So this was September 2023, right? December 2023, I felt like, again, beauty came up, and I was having a conversation with my friend, and she was like, why don't you do like brows or lash lifts or brow lamination, things like that? And I was like, oh, I didn't really know what brow lamination was. I'd done research on it, and I was like, okay, I'm going to give it a try, sort of thing, right? One thing about me is, if the idea is in my head and it's staying in my head, I believe that is God. Like, he tells you things in different ways. So he could have been speaking through my friend, or keeping the idea on my heart. So I go forth with it, right? I done the course and everything, and I officially started the business January 2024. So this time last year, guys. Oh my God. It was hard, and it is hard. It is hard. But the year of 2024 is the year I can say I drew closer to God. I was in my Bible every single day, or at least a few times a week. I was praying. I was fasting. God has truly changed me. God has truly used 2024 to change me. And I realized that I was in the wilderness, and I kind of still am in the wilderness, if I'm honest, because business is not easy. But I was in the wilderness, and in that moment, I couldn't see it. But now that I'm a year ahead, I'm just like, wow. There were so many moments, guys, where, listen, I'm going to tell you the real. When you quit your job, yeah, when you've been working since you were 16 till, how old was I 2 years ago? 26, 27, right? Was I 27? No, I was 26 when I quit. I'm 28 now. So I've been working since 16 to 28, right? To 26. And I have always been used to a consistent salary. Do you know how hard it was financially? I had to sacrifice things. I'm not going to lie. Like, I had to sacrifice Netflix. I cancelled the subscription. Spotify, I cancelled the subscription. You know, any little thing that I had that wasn't either bills or the gym, I cancelled it, because I was so determined in that year. Like, I was just so determined to make it work. And there was just so many times, guys, where I was discouraged. I've had breakdowns. I've cried immensely to my friends, and I'm just like, should I apply for another job? Like, I don't know how I'm going to pay rent. Like, all of these things, guys. But I remember the Lord saying to me, be still and know that I am God. And he was giving me messages such as, you're always listening to music. You're always listening to music. How can I speak to you if your mind is always working? How can I speak to you if you're blocking me from speaking to you? So I had to kind of realize that, like, I do listen to music. Like, I can't sit in silence, because I'm just like, it's a bit weird sitting in silence. You know what I mean? I became intentional with sitting in silence, spending time with God. And that's when I heard him speak to me more and more. And the way God speaks to me a lot is by giving me verses. Like, if I was feeling anxious, he would lead me to a verse about anxiety. If I was feeling discouraged, he would lead me to a verse about discouragement. And I realized that last year was a year that he was truly building me to have faith in him. And it's hard. Like, even now, like, it's really, really hard, because there's bills to be paid. But when I look back, I'm just like, like, God really kept me, and he made sure those bills were paid. Guys, there were some months where I genuinely didn't know how I was going to pay rent. Like, I think my close friends know this, like those that are extremely close to me know this, because I'm very open with my friends about it. But yeah, like, it's really not easy. But even within the year, God has changed me. He's changed my heart. He has built my character to make me more persevering, like, have the spirit of, I saw a quote that said something like, have the spirit of a marathon runner and not the spirit of a victim in a dentist's chair. A marathon it's a long way to go, and you're running really slowly, but you're running at a steady pace. And when you're running at a steady pace, you have endurance, you can keep going. Whereas if you start off zooming, by the time you get a quarter of a way or halfway, you're going to slow down immensely and you're going to feel discouraged. So that was one of my biggest lessons, honestly. And guys, it's crazy because when I tapped into God, that's when I started to see my gifts. Like, one thing I've always prayed for is, God, I want to speak in tongues. I want to speak in tongues. I'm not going to lie, I thought it was fake. I'll be very honest. I thought tongues was fake. I just thought, yeah, okay. And then last year, January, in the fast, boom, I started speaking in tongues. And I was like, is this real? Like, I literally said to my mum, am I making this up? Because in my head, I'm hearing this, I'm hearing tongues. And I'm like, but when I speak it kind of just sounds like blah, 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 blah. It was just sounding like gibberish to me. But when I look back then, the way I was speaking tongues to now, it has definitely improved. Also in the year of 2024, like, I also found a new church, which I absolutely love, and the people there are so nice. And I feel like because it's closer to home, it's allowed me to be more consistent, and it's allowing me to, step out of my comfort zone. Like, when I go to church, I'm usually in and out, right? And now, like last week, we had Agape Sunday. And guys, I would not have stayed last year. I would not have stayed. And I was by myself. And at this time, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to stay. And I spoke to two new people. Do you know what I mean? So it's allowed me to like step out more and be more bold in my character and the things that I do. Although I'm only 1 year in business, the struggle is still real, but I am more persevering than I was last year. I am more bold than I was last year. And last year, whenever I would feel discouraged, I was going along with that discouragement. And now I renounce that discouragement, especially when I feel recently in the past 2 weeks, I was like going through anxiety. I wasn't going through anxiety. I was feeling anxious, God forbid. I was feeling anxious. And usually I would like, just go for it. But no, this year I was like, I'm renouncing it. I rebuke it because no, anxiety isn't of God. Where anxiety is present, it's not God. Do you know what I mean? So I've learned to renounce these negative feelings and not identify with it. So when you're starting a business and God is leading you to do it, just do it. No matter how scary it is, just do it, and understand that you are going to have to sacrifice a lot on the way. But one thing about God is He's always going to provide. He always comes at the last minute, guys. Yo, I didn't know how rent was going to be paid. 2 days before, He came through. Do you know what I mean? Like, God is going to surround you with people that can help you. Like, if you need to borrow money from close friends, then so do it, or close family, then so do it. I also had to sacrifice my social life. Like, I had to say no. And I still do say no to like a lot of outings because I don't want to spend money, because one, I can't spend the money. I would rather spend the money on equipment rather than going on a night out. Do you know what I mean? And it's crazy because those things don't even do anything for me anymore. Like, if you invite me to a club, I would tell you I'm not coming. My friends will tell you, if you invite me to an event and that event is from 11 p.m. to 4 a.m., there's a 90% chance I'm not coming. God has changed me like so much in the year, and I realized that He's changing me through my business, if that makes sense. He's building my faith. He's making me more trusting of Him. He's building my character and changing me as well. Because one thing I have struggled with is having faith in Him. Faith is believing in the things that are unseen and not the things that are seen. And that's something that I find very hard and I'm still working through. One thing that keeps me going is my mum. Honestly, I've started to be more open with my parents now about my financial situation, and I kind of just tell them, like, if I haven't got it, I'd be like, listen, I haven't got it. Like, could you help me out? My mum helps me out with prayer a lot of the times, do you know what I mean? And there was a point in time where I felt unsupported by them because they just never asked, like, how's business and stuff. They started asking now, do you know what I mean? Started checking up on me now. I started to be more open with my siblings about where I'm at financially. Just little things, guys, because even things like Christmas, I couldn't afford to get gifts, and I felt really bad. Like, I even actually cried, but all I can say is I'm going to be able to give 5 gifts per person at some point. Do you know what I mean? I know that I'm going to grow to be successful. I know, because God has shown me and God has called me to do it. So I just have to keep going no matter how difficult it feels. The wilderness is not easy, guys, and the wilderness is not easy, but keep persevering, keep staying in his word, and try to reach out to people. Try to talk to people that are in the same boat as you, entrepreneurs, you know. Don't be afraid to DM people. I do DM people, whether they reply, they reply. If they don't, they don't, you know. Like, I've started to become really shameless in my business and just, you know, go for it and go to networking events as well. And I want to give you guys 3 scriptures that have stayed rooted in me. Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans that I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future. So even when the going gets tough and it feels like God is not there, he is always there. And I've realized there was a point where I was just like, God, you're not here. Like, you're not here. Like, nothing is happening. What's going on? But I kind of see that he's always there, and maybe he will just sit back and watch you, because in those moments he was like, I need you to have faith, I need you to trust me, and I need you to keep going. So when you're feeling like that, go back to his word, because the devil is a liar. Isaiah 43:2, which says, when you pass through deep waters, I will be with you. When you pass through the rivers, they will not sweep you. And the one that he consistently repeated to me, Psalm 46:10, be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted amongst the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. Just remember who he is, remember who you serve, and remember the power that he has. You know, no kingdom, no other kingdom has more power than God. I hope this video gave you some insight into, you know, the journey that I'm currently on, and I really appreciate your support. And I want to know if there's any entrepreneurs in the building, or if there's anyone that is on a similar journey or feels called to go on a similar journey. I would love to connect with you guys. Please like and subscribe. Follow me on social media. I will list my handles in the comments below. God bless.